Let's be real for a second. If you started a business to finally be free, why on earth are you working way more hours now than when you just had a regular job? Look, most small business owners aren't actually building a business, they are just buying themselves a job. And it's a job that usually pays worse and stresses them out way more. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to dive into the brutal truth from Michael Gerber's absolute classic, The E-Myth Revisited. You're going to discover exactly why so many businesses fail, and more importantly, we're going to map out the exact system you need to build one that actually runs without you.
Right off the bat, let's look at the hard, undeniable data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor. It paints a pretty grim picture, honestly. About 20% of small businesses just gone by year one. Poof. By year 5, nearly half of them have failed. And after a decade, a staggering 65% do not survive. But here is the really absolutely crucial point you need to understand. This crazy failure rate isn't because the owners weren't smart enough. It wasn't a lack of funding, and they for sure weren't failing because they weren't grinding hard. It is something entirely different.
To understand this, let me tell you a quick story about Lisa. So, Lisa made amazing handmade soaps. Her house literally smelled like a spa, and all her friends kept telling her, "You should totally start a business." So, you know what? She did. But about 6 months in, she was completely drowning. She hadn't had a single day off in weeks. Her staff kept quitting, and honestly, the worst part? She started to hate making soap. Lisa fell straight into a massive trap called the entrepreneurial myth, or the E-myth. It's this completely false belief that if you're highly skilled at doing the technical work, like crafting soap, you're naturally going to be good at running a business that does that work. But doing the work and building a business are two entirely different jobs. All of a sudden, Lisa wasn't just crafting lavender bars anymore. She was dealing with inventory, employee drama, rent, taxes, the whole shebang.
Okay, let's move into section 1, the 3 hats and exactly why you are burning out.
So, to diagnose this invisible disease that's causing all this burnout, we have to look at the 3 deeply conflicting roles every single owner tries to play at the exact same time. First up, we have the entrepreneur. Now, this is the dreamer, the visionary, the big picture thinker. This is that part of you that stays up late at night, staring at the ceiling, just brainstorming new ideas and imagining what your amazing business could become one day.
But right alongside that big dreamer, we have the manager. Now, this is the pragmatic organizer. The manager is the one who's frantically making to-do lists, tracking all the incoming orders, and basically trying to clean up the creative mess the entrepreneur just made so that the wheels don't completely fall off the wagon today.
And finally, there's the technician. This is the doer, the one who is actually baking the cupcakes, or designing the websites, fixing the bikes, or making the soap. This is exactly where most of us start out, right? We're good at a thing, so we decide to just do it for ourselves instead of working for a boss. But here's the catch. When you become your own boss, you don't magically stop being the technician. You just pile the manager and entrepreneur hats right on top of it. Suddenly, you're trying to build the future, manage the present, and do literally all the manual work at the exact same time. These 3 roles, they are constantly fighting each other for the steering wheel.
So, real talk for a second. Which of these roles are you stuck in right now? I want you to really audit yourself here. Because until you get all 3 of these roles working together like a coordinated team, your business just won't grow. You're just spinning your wheels, building yourself a full-time job with totally unpaid overtime.
All right, section 2, the business life cycle. You either evolve or you collapse.
You know, businesses are actually a lot like growing kids. They have to pass through specific, totally predictable life cycle phases if they're going to survive. Let's walk through this progression. On day 1, you are in the infancy phase. You are literally the business. You handle every single order, every email, every complaint. And hey, it feels pretty good at first because you're in total control. But soon enough, you're working 14 hours a day. Then you realize you desperately need help, so you hire someone. Boom! Welcome to the adolescence phase. You gave away some responsibility, but let's be honest with ourselves, you're still hovering and micromanaging because no one else does it quite right. Eventually, you're going to hit a wall where this thing is just eating your entire life. At that point, you either burn out entirely or you evolve into the maturity phase.
So, what phase is your business in right now? Take a second and just locate yourself on that timeline. And the crucial takeaway here is that maturity? Actually, it's not even about how old your business is or how many years you've been open. It's about how you run it. It's about whether your business runs on predictable systems instead of relying 100% entirely on you.
And that brings us to one of the hardest truths to swallow in this entire explainer. Hustle is not a business strategy. Period.
I know. That sounds super controversial in a world that constantly glorifies those 18-hour workdays and the whole rise and grind mentality. But look, if your business depends on you hustling nonstop just to survive, you don't actually own a business. You own a dependency.
The key to escaping that brutal trap is something called franchise thinking. Gerber says you have to build your business exactly like you're going to franchise it, even if you never ever plan to. Think about McDonald's for a second. They didn't become a multi-billion-dollar empire because they had the absolute best gourmet burgers in the world. No way. They scaled because they built a flawless system. A 16-year-old with absolutely zero cooking experience can walk in on their first day, push a button, and serve up a perfect Big Mac. You need those same kinds of systems for your hiring, your training, your inventory, your customer service. If your entire coffee shop grinds to a halt just because your best barista quits, that is not a business.
Okay, let's get into Section 3, building the machine. This is how you escape the daily grind.
All right, so here is the actionable cure. This is exactly how you can extract yourself from the day-to-day operations. Number 1, you absolutely have to stop trying to be the superhero who does everything. Just stop. Number 2, you must document every single process like it's a cooking recipe. Imagine you're teaching a friend how to make your favorite dish. You wouldn't just tell them, hey, cook it until it tastes good, right? You'd say, heat the pan, add exactly 2 tablespoons of oil, wait for it to shimmer. You need to do this exact same thing for how you take orders, how you handle angry questions, how you ship products. And number 3, test it and refine it so that anyone, literally anyone, can do it and guarantee the exact same result every single time.
Now, to actually pull this off, you need a massive, radical mindset shift. You've got to stop being the star player on the left, running all over the field, sweating, doing all the heavy lifting yourself. You have to step up and become the coach on the right. You need to step off the field entirely, design the plays, build the templates, create the checklists, motivate your team, and just watch the scoreboard. That is how your business transforms into a vehicle that supports your life, rather than just being a stressful one-person circus.
And that leads us to Section 4, the 7-step blueprint for growth.
I want you to think of this blueprint almost like a video game where you're progressing through clear stages to level up. Step 1 is vision, setting your initial GPS and mission. Where are we going? Step 2 is organizing, mapping out your roles, kind of like building the frame of a house before you put the walls up. Step 3 is building systems, crafting those playbooks and recipes we just talked about. Step 4 is staffing smart, bringing in an all-star team to run those systems for you. Step 5 is marketing, making actual, meaningful connections with customers. Step 6 is financial mastery, tracking your profits so you actually know the score of the game. And finally, Step 7 is continuous improvement, upgrading your gear and constantly innovating. Nail these 7 steps and your business will absolutely thrive.
So after exploring the whole E-myth, the conflicting 3 hats, and exactly how to build out your systems, what is your very first step going to be? Are you going to sit down and document your first recipe today? Or are you going to just keep wearing all 3 of those hats until you totally burn out and drop? Because at the end of the day, you really have to ask yourself this one question. If your business can't survive a single week without you being there, do you really own a business, or does your business own you?